Howdy y'all, Tex here again. Now, I'm going to delve into another job that I had, and I told y'all that I'd done corrections for a little bit. I was a corrections officer for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I did that for about 8 months, and I finally decided that being paid once a month was for the birds. I did enjoy the schedule. I worked 12-hour shifts, 4 days on, 4 days off, but your 12-hour shifts were actually 14 that you was only paid, 12 for, basically. And that's if nothing happened, because you had to get there, and it was maximum security prisons I was working, so I had to take everything out of my pockets. Everything was in a clear bag that you took in there. No cell phones, nothing. You couldn't take anything into these places. So your bag went through an x-ray machine. You went through a metal detector. They pat you down. These your own officers just to go to work, And then you get in there, and the inmates are... we had so much to do with them. We had to do so many cell searches. We had to pass out mail. We had to, make sure they got chow, whatever else. The good thing is I worked night shifts, so I only had to deal with them really for about the first half of the shift, because they racked up and all went in their cells about 11 o'clock at night, So it was a interesting job to have. And I got a few stories from that job, but I guess one I'll share with you right now is one that basically every job has its rules, regulations, such like that. And one of the things that's annoying in the job of a corrections officer is the fact of you think being behind bars you only have so many rights. Okay, everybody has right to be treated like a human being. That's just all there is to it. But if you're incarcerated, there's certain things that it doesn't seem like it'd be a big deal. Well, I won't say it wouldn't seem like a big deal because, well, let's just say the military, for instance. If you're in the military, you get letters from home. That's kind of what keeps you going. Well, it's pretty much the same thing in prison. So I can see why mail time's such a big deal. But once again, I don't answer to the inmates. So that's just all there is to that. I did not answer to the inmates. I answer to the bosses above me, the warden, the lieutenants, the sergeants, things like that. And as far as I'm concerned, keeping my job by doing, my duties, which was getting these cell searches done and paperwork and getting inmates where they needed to be, when they needed to be there, that sort of thing, that all took precedence over mail to me. But I was also able to hand out mail. I did a lot of multitasking because that's what you do in there. Well, one particular day, I got behind. I mean, I was doing everything I needed to do, but there were so many inmates moving around because I was working a dorm building. I wasn't working a normal celled housing building. I was working a dorm building where it was like 4 beds in a cubicle, and there was about 200 inmates or so in these pods, where these beds are. So there was a bunch of guys in there. It's not like a normal one where I was only trying to hand out mail to about 70 people, because the pods we worked are you could have 72 inmates basically per section, and because it was a 3-story building, and there were 12 cells on each floor. That's 12, 24, 36. 36 times 2 inmates per cell, that's 72. You can theoretically have 72 inmates in one section that you're working. So anyway, that all being said, I'm out there working a dormitory building, and an inmate was asking me about mail, and I told him I'd get it to him, whenever I could. Well, we did we basically did a half and half. So at 6 hours, it's 12-hour shift. At 6 hours, whatever you were doing, in that particular case, I was working the floor first that day. Well, that means at midnight, I went from the floor to running the controls in the picket, basically opening doors, things like that. So because there were so many inmates on the move and there was so much stuff going on that particular day, I just didn't get the mail handed out there. Now it still got handed out because when I went into the picket, the other officers that took over on the floor finished handing the mail out. Well, I didn't, go over well with one particular inmate. They filed a grievance on me. Of course, nothing came of it, but it's an annoyance, kind of like way stations are. I get pulled in a way station that normally I ain't hauling that much weight anyway. My numbers are good. I got a 2020 truck. There's nothing wrong with it. The trailers are all new. They know how Mercer's equipment is, but they pull you into a way station anyway. Most of the time they don't even weigh you. You go through the bypass. They just want to input your numbers in. So it slows you down and it inconveniences you. That's basically what this grievance was. I had to go over there in front of basically a court over there, warden and lieutenants or something like that, and they're just like, yeah, we got this grievance, it says this, what happened? And you tell them, well, that particular day we were snowed under with all sorts of different movements, and I was doing my job, and I just did not get the mail out as quickly as I wanted to because I had other things that took precedence over it, and that was the end of it. But the fact is that them inmates can sit there and file a grievance on you for anything they want to, and that's the kind of silliness that you have to deal with. Now, I've got some other stories over there about the prisons that are a lot more interesting than that one that I'll tell you. But yeah, I'm just telling y'all, it's amazing the stupidity you have to put up with in different jobs. But anyway, this video has been a little long, so y'all have a good one.